Hello guys, welcome back to our Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. On the balcony on the castle. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were surveying the land. We have no choice. Hong said softly, Luo Feng, you aren't bluffing, is there really such an account? Thunder God looked at Luo Feng, yes. But I need to reach the star level before being able to gain access to it. Luo Feng looked far into the streets, the continuous stream of people. The news of him acquiring access to the account only after reaching the star level, this was something he had only told his wife, Hong and Thunder God. No one else. Let's risk it all. We can only do that. Thunder God said, let's do it. Hong said solemnly, right, let's do it. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng said solemnly, within 3 months, if I can reach the star level, everything will be okay. If within these 3 months, I don't reach the star level, then, we can only rely on reporting to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, and take the $100 billion Black Dragon reward. All the rights of Earth will belong to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. But at least the Nuolan Shan family won't dare steal from them. Luo Feng muttered, and for the Black Dragon Mountain Empire to control Earth, even through the wormhole, it'll still take them 2 or more years to travel here. 2 years is plenty of time, relying on the spaceships. I'll secretly move all the humans on Earth away. This was the plan. A 2-pronged preparation. Success. He would become Earth's leader. Failure would mean leaving Earth to become nothing but an empty shell, evacuating as much of the humans on Earth within the 2 years. Of course, this option would be arduous. Moving close to 7 billion people was an extremely hard and painful thing to do. Until the last moment, Luo Feng would never choose to do so. That afternoon, about 3 p.m., Thunder God's daughter, Hong's son and daughter and Luo Feng's close family all gathered in the castle. Many of Earth's upper echelon also gathered here. Be careful in the other planets in the universe. Earth's countless people's hopes are on you all. All the best. From the group's words and prayers, Luo Feng kissed his wife and children before turning and floating with Hong and Thunder God towards the Black Dragon ship above. Daddy, come home soon. Daddy. The 2 kids held by Shushan shouted loudly, okay. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God entered the cabin of the Black Dragon ship at the same time. The cabin door closed and the Black Dragon ship began to swiftly rise, delivering Earth's humanity's hope and leaving Earth. And the entire population of close to 7 billion, many of them didn't even know. They lived in peace, unknowing to the fact that 3 people had left Earth towards the vast universe to fight for a thread of hope for everybody. Within the Black Dragon ship control room, external virtual image simulator was at 100%. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God turned to look at the beautiful green and blue planet, Barbata. Luo Feng's voice was cold, accelerate, prepare for universe travel. The first destination is by land star. The Black Dragon ship carried Earth's strongest 3, beginning its universe travel. Previously, only Luo Feng left alone to visit and gain insights, also buying metals for himself. And this time, there were 3, all fighting for some hope for Earth. Not too far from Earth, within a vast star field. 2 extremely long and flat grey battleships, one behind the other, similar in appearances, and their lengths were a shocking over 6,000 meters. At the time, these 2 were currently 2 blurred beams of light, swiftly flying in space. The battleship in front. Control room. Similar in appearances to Buluo, a handsome youth sat, beside him sat 3 other men. What's wrong? The handsome youth creased his eyebrows. We can't contact them. Yes. The black-skinned man nodded. The handsome youth's eyes glinted demonically. This Buluo, the head promised him the position of eternal elder after this incident is done. He still really thinks he can stand high above and step on my head. As for the report on the planet, he actually hasn't even told us anything. How vicious. We've requested communication, he doesn't answer. Another handsome youth cursed as he bit down. Pula, I think we should just, he waved his hand. The other two were shocked too. The handsome youth Pula shook his head. Don't do anything foolish, the family's matters are the most important. After all, there's still 3 months before we reach this planet. According to the head, there might be huge amounts of treasure on this planet. Sitting in the Black Dragon ship, through the universe travel, they reached the by-land star, which was 11.8 thousand light-years away from Earth on the day itself. By-land star, the extreme cold area. Huge warehouses within the base were scattered about the area. A black universe ship slowly descended on a particular warehouse residential area. Right in front of a castle. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God swiftly jumped off the ship. Behind them followed 4 black Mongolian bodyguards, Master. The 101 slave guards stationed on by-land star stood outside the castle, respectfully receiving Luo Feng. Big brother, second brother, follow me. Luo Feng walked towards the castle. Walking along the winding stairs of the castle, third brother, you really have it good. Thunder God looked through the windows by the stairs, gazing far out into the snow-covered land. This was his first time leaving Earth and heading to another planet with life in the universe. This is the first time in my life leaving Earth, and I've actually come to, oh, how many light years are we from Earth again? 11.8 thousand light years. Luo Feng was somewhat speechless. Due to the pressing matter of the Nuolan Shan family, the pressure on himself was enormous, and while the second brother of his was initially nervous himself, it seemed he had totally relaxed now. 11.8 thousand light years, what a far place. Thunder God complimented. This is a good place to stay for a while. Hong nodded. Big brother, second brother, aren't you guys worried at all? Luo Feng opened the door and entered the living room. The 3 sat separately on the sofa, worried. Against danger, your worry has no use at all. Hong's gaze was calm. Be those proficient in the ancient meditation ways of yoga, or in the ancient Chinese traditions of meditation, they all have beneficial effects to a person's state of mind. State of mind. Luo Feng was curious. However, from the manuals of the Yunmo planet, or the other forms of training he's done, most of them were all about skills and techniques, etc., and requirements. This whole realm of training was completely different from state of mind. With a poor state of mind, evil and mad person can still become a powerful being. Within the living room, Luo Feng's expression was heavy. Brothers, while the ship was swiftly rushing to by-land star, I've been thinking, there are some risks with the plan before. Risks? Hong and Thunder God pondered and nodded their heads. If we don't take these risks, what else can we do? Thunder God said helplessly, we can't be precise to every minute and second. The moment the Nuolan Shan family fleet reaches Earth, I'm afraid they'll immediately capture and control the important people. Luo Feng's gaze was as sharp as a blade. No matter what, I will definitely not let my family take these risks. I'm sure the same goes for my 2 brothers. Hong nodded. Didn't we leave the other ship on Earth? The Universe C-grade scout ship from the explorers was currently parked behind Luo Feng's castle. It was left there as an escape route for Luo Feng's, Hong's, Thunder God's families and several other important people to take should the time arise. No. That ship is too small, only so many people can enter. 1,000. 3,000 if we squeeze them. What about resources and food? The food and drinks. Luo Feng shook his head. In the worst-case scenario, we can only save the maximum 1,000 people. It'll be hard for the many races to reproduce. So you are thinking, Hong and Thunder God looked at Luo Feng, we'll buy survival bases. Luo Feng said, survival bases. Hong and Thunder God were suspicious, not exactly clear on what those were. Normally, developing planets, or even mineral planets, will all build a survival base. Luo Feng explained, a survival base, the small ones can hold up to 10 million people, the big ones can hold billions within. They can ensure air is sufficient, water resources, food, etc. Hong and Thunder God's eyes lit up. We can go to the virtual universe network and look for a seller of these bases. Luo Feng smiled. Even though it was another supposed 3 months before the Nuolan Shan family fleet would arrive on Earth, it wasn't. It could be 88 days, or 89 days later, or, whatever the case, the time wasn't specific enough. To prevent any accidents, it was better to build a strong and solid survival base. This way, it would be much safer. Virtual Universe, Ganwu Empire, Black Dragon Mountain Island. The Black Dragon Mountain Island, even though it was called an island, it was still about 1 billion times bigger than the surface area of all of Earth's surface land put together. In a particular private room of a restaurant, even though this is the virtual universe, the dishes and food, etc., are all exactly like reality. Thunder God complimented, and the prices are all very cheap. The manager placed a black drawing book onto the table. In it, images of survival bases started to appear. Look, there are big and small bases. The prices too are definitely different. This is the cheapest grade. It only requires a 100,000 Black Dragon dollars to build one with length and width 10 kilometers, height of 100 m. The survival base is separated into 30 levels. It's enough to house up to 300 million people. And there are even bigger ones. My 3 respected customers, if you need stronger defenses, this is the B6 grade. It's much more expensive. Its size can be large or small just like the one before. It requires 90 million Black Dragon dollars. The manager smiled, filled with assurance and confidence as he spoke. Hong and Thunder God looked at the various bases and their prices. I need a survival base that's able to withstand a Universe Level 1 warrior's attack. Luo Feng said directly. The force of over 40-star Level 9 fighters combined match up to just about 1 Universe Level 1. Oh. That's going to be expensive. Luo Di's eyes lit up. This is the C5 grade. Able to house 300 million people, requires 98 billion Black Dragon dollars. Luo Feng's eyebrows creased. Back when he first sold the arc cutter knife, he had a 180 million remaining. After that, he bought the jade marrow, slave guards and the precious and expensive metals required for the golden horned beast, purple light drink. Now he had only 1.7 billion Black Dragon dollars left. On a normal planet, this was definitely a top-level wealthy person. However, to purchase a large survival base able to withstand a Universe Level 1 attack, it was far from enough. I need a C3 grade. Luo Feng said directly. C3 grades are cheap, able to house 300 million, they only require about 51 billion. Luo Di said, smaller. Luo Feng's eyebrows creased. This is one is able to house 30 million people, only 8.9 billion. Luo Di continued and smiled, no smaller ones. Luo Feng asked, no more. Luo Di's expression was somewhat dissatisfied. He cursed to himself. Did these 3 people purposely call him here just to waste his time? Luo Feng pondered to himself. The living standards and capacity of these bases was leaving about 10 square meters for each person. And in Earth's times of distress, if they crammed together, The 30 million standard capacity should be able to house up to 100 million people. We've checked the information, your company can make custom survival bases, right? Luo Feng said. Within the private room, Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were enraged. Poor misers. They were called poor misers. If I understood and spoke universe language, I would have definitely scolded him well. Thunder God couldn't help but say. Scolding him wouldn't have meant anything. The little spirit Barbata on Luo Feng's shoulder simply laughed. Very simple. You all just have to immediately become a large client of the Tai Lo company, and directly complain about the service of this Luo Di being extremely poor. These sort of department manager, or second-level manager punk, will immediately be fired, he'll definitely regret it later. Large client. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were shocked, but we don't have so much money. Thunder God said, that's simple. Barbata said casually, Luo Feng, don't you have a Black Dragon Mountain X-81 ship? These sort of ancient luxury goods are definitely one of the favorites among the ship enthusiasts. There's definitely a whole lot of them willing to buy it if you take it out. Sell the ship. Luo Feng was shocked. After he reached the star level, he could naturally buy a new ship. How do I sell the Black Dragon ship? Luo Feng asked. Simple, you just have to directly contact Gao Xing, he's a ship enthusiast. Someone like him, besides his status and position, definitely knows a community of other enthusiasts, people with money and status. They can definitely give you a high price. Barbata said, after selling the Black Dragon ship, you can build a few survival bases for the people of Earth. That'll be something of great contribution for the people of Earth. Also, you can use your status as a big client to teach a good lesson to that condescending bastard. Luo Feng nodded. He immediately made Barbata contact Gao Xing. While connecting, Luo Feng and the other two sat to eat. Hello, Luo Feng. It's been a while since you actually contacted me. Luo Feng and the others stared at the screen that appeared before them. On it appeared the fat and chubby kid from before. The two beside you are of your race. Gao Xing laughed, right? Luo Feng nodded. I've been rather short on cash recently, lack of money. As long as the figure isn't too huge, within 1 billion Black Dragon dollars, I can help you settle it. Not a single cent of interest. Gao Xing said candidly. Borrowing money should definitely come with interest. Gao Xing's straightforwardness proved he was indeed a good friend. No, I actually want to sell my Black Dragon Mountain X-81 ancient universe ship. Luo Feng said, damn. Gao Xing's eyes almost popped out. You can actually bear to sell it. That's an ancient, over 1 million years old artifact. To be able to preserve it that well, it's really rare. It's definitely a treasure that every ship enthusiast would want. I advise you to never sell it. It'll probably be almost impossible to buy it back after selling it. Luo Feng was helpless. Universe ship enthusiasts. The truth was he didn't share this interest at all. I'm really selling it. Do you have any channels? Luo Feng asked. Selling it is simple. Gao Xing's expression grew serious. You just have to let the news out and it'll easily be sold. However, to sell it at a high price, I'm in a few ship enthusiasts communities. I'll help you spread the news and tell them about this. When I mentioned to them about your ship before, there were many that were extremely excited and wanted to buy it. Then thanks. Luo Feng was excited within. About 25 minutes later. Luo Feng, Gao Xing requests a call. Barbata shouted, connect. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. The screen floated and appeared before them. Gao Xing's image appeared. Everything is settled. I've talked to a brother from the Black Dragon Mountain Star. he's willing to pay the highest price of 12.8 billion Black Dragon dollars. This is the best price I've gotten from all my other good friends. Gao Xing said directly, these people are not stupid at all. They won't be willing to go any higher. All right, we'll sell it at this price. Luo Feng said easily, this is his virtual universe contact number. You can settle the contract with him along with the date and time of the exchange. Gao Xing immediately told Luo Feng the number. After the conversation ended, Luo Feng and the other two returned to Earth. They brought the silver-gray universe ship to Bailan Star. For the upcoming trips, they would have to use that ship in the meantime. 12 days later. Bailan Star, the planet's docking bay. The youth immediately flew over to the pure Black Dragon ship's side, extending his arm to caress the body. Looking at its grain and scars, he couldn't help but compliment, wow, pure black yttrium, what a lavish black color. Also the old X marking of the Black Dragon, it's rarely seen now. It's been maintained very perfectly. Hee. The youth was so excited his eyes were gleaming. Under Luo Feng's leadership, the youth surveyed the Black Dragon ship's internal cabins, rooms, etc. From Gao Xing's information, Luo Feng knew this youth came from the main planet of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, an extremely huge background, and the family he was from was much bigger and stronger than the Nuolan Shan family. However, these sort of direct descendants of big families couldn't go about antagonizing Universe Level 9 warriors. Just after meeting them, 12.8 billion will exchange the goods and money in one go. The youth walked out of the cabin door and smiled. I've just transferred the funds. 12.8 billion Black Dragon dollars have entered into your account. The deal was successful. This ship enthusiast youth brought his new baby, the Black Dragon Mountain X-81 ship, and left Bailan Star. And Luo Feng, he immediately began custom-making the survival bases. 5 million people capacity, AC2 grade little survival base, 4 of them. The price of 1.6 billion Black Dragon dollars, a total of 6.4 billion. 10 million people capacity C2 grade survival base, 1 of it. Price 2.6 billion Black Dragon dollars. 10 million people capacity C3 grade survival base, 1. Price 4.2 billion Black Dragon dollars. A total of 13.2 billion Black Dragon dollars. Time passed. Luo Feng had immersed himself deeply in his training the past few days. With Barbata's instruction, his evolution speed was raised to its highest efficiency. He would only occasionally leave just to receive goods. Within the blink of an eye, it was already year 2062, December 24th in China's time zone. On this calm night, it had been a month since the Little Explorer team had landed on Earth. Luo Feng and his 2 brothers were currently returning to Earth again. In the following day, I'll build a survival base in America. This survival base has a 5 million people capacity. Of course, in desperate times, we can definitely squeeze more in. In India, we'll build a similar 5 million people capacity base. In Russia and the neighboring European countries, we'll build a combined 10 million people capacity survival base. Asia's population is bigger. In the other Asian bases, they'll share one 5 million people capacity survival base. Africa and South America bases will share a 5 million people capacity survival base. China will use a 10 million people capacity survival base. Within the War God Palace, Luo Feng announced to Earth's upper echelon. At the same time, Earth's 5 great countries and 23 bases were informed of the news. They had already known much earlier that the Nuolan Shan family fleet would be arriving in 3 months, hence they had measures prepared for it. After receiving the report, each country began to swiftly put things into motion. The only thing was, The upper echelon of Earth, the leaders, were still very worried about the situation. No one knew what would become of their fates. Against a powerful universe family's fleet from the universe, Earth had no power to resist. Everything could only lie on the hopes of Luo Feng on Jade Rock Star. Jade Rock Star was an important hub surrounded by 6 other huge empires. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire's government station on this planet's main motive was to rely on this planet's location to deter the other surrounding countries and the Silver Blue Empire. It was modern and bustling beyond compare on Jade Rock Star. In a particular oceanside bar, Luo Feng and the other 2 had rented a little building. Today is already February 21st. That Nwolan Mountain family fleet's arrival on Earth should be today. Thunder God stood outside the villa, looking at the vast sea outside, creasing his eyebrows. Brother Hong, right now third brother hasn't even broken through. Will we really not make it in time? Then all we can do is bear with it. There's still hope, Hong said solemnly. If Luo Feng truly didn't break through in time, then they could only submit Earth's properties, population, etc. to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire and receive the reward. That way, Earth would belong to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. The moment it belonged to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, then Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God would absolutely have no say in Earth's government. Endure, endure, endure. Thunder God's disposition may be very good, but as the days passed one after another, along with the thought of the ever-closing Nwolan Shan family fleet reaching Earth, this sort of pressure, if it were a normal person, he would have lost it much earlier. Even I've broken through to the star level, but third brother still hasn't. Thunder God was originally at the peak of the Star Traveler 9 level. Hong and Thunder God realized. Luo Feng's eyes opened from within the room. Has he broken through? Hong and Thunder God rushed into the room. HM. Luo Feng opened his eyes. It's a call request from Earth. Barbata was currently semi-connected to the virtual universe, just to be able to receive messages. To be able to send out messages, however, required one's full consciousness to enter the virtual universe. When he saw the 2 seniors rushing into the room with faces of anticipation, Luo Feng shook his head. No, I haven't broken through. It's only that I've received a message request from Earth. From Earth? Hong and Thunder God were shocked. The countries on Earth these past few days wouldn't have deliberately disturbed them. Don't tell me. Hong, Thunder God and Luo Feng's expressions became ugly. Let me check. Luo Feng closed his eyes, his consciousness entering the virtual universe. The blue-green planet. 2 large objects had just entered the atmosphere. Within one of the battleship's control room, Pula and 4 other heirs, via the external image simulator, looked at the clouds covering the beautiful Earth, laughing excitedly. We've finally reached this life planet. After traveling in space for 2 years, it's too long. These 4 heirs had extremely high positions, never actually going through such hardships before. The arduous journey through space that took a total of 2 years, discovered the online network. Already hacked into the planet's network. The battleship's AI was swiftly reporting large amounts of data. I'll pass on the good news to teacher. The handsome youth Beulah said and immediately left the control room, entering his private room. Within his room, Beulah swiftly connected his consciousness and entered the virtual universe. Within a 3-story luxurious villa, its walls covered in a beautiful array of flowers. In a quiet room, Beulah stood within the room, quietly waiting. Beside him a screen appeared. It was blank. The screen suddenly displayed an imposing, strong-looking man, his ears pointed, obviously of the same race as Beulah, teacher. Beulah respectfully bowed. This was his teacher, and also Pula Nwolan Shan's grandfather, currently the head of the Nwolan Mountain family, Yukunwolan Shan, one of the newer and more unconventional heads. Unlike the other heads who liked art and spoke of etiquette, this was a brash and wild head, one who displayed more power than the previous generation of heads. Yukunwolan Shan nodded, his eyes fixed on Pula. You've reached that planet?
Yes, teacher.
Pula said respectfully, this planet's aboriginals call it Earth.
Earth?
Yuku repeated the word a couple of times, Beulah. Yukunwolan Shan said seriously, the planet you've just reached, you have to be extremely careful. Buluo from before has already been out of contact for a total of 3 months. Even the old head has been unable to contact him. He's most likely already dead. That's why, don't get careless.
Understood.
Pula nodded. When Buluo Nwolan Shan began not answering to calls, the family didn't think too much of it initially. However, as time passed, and when even the 2 other heads couldn't contact him, the Nwolan Shan family began to suspect that Buluo could have died. The call ended. Pula's eyes slight squinted, data, sampling. Pula's consciousness left the virtual universe and returned to reality. More than 10 billion people lived on Jade Rock Star, a posh and luxurious city. Within one of its oceanside bars, one could hear the swishing of waves rushing against the beach. Hong and Thunder God sat crossed-legged on the beach, quietly waiting. Behind them, in a quiet house, Luo Feng sat crossed-legged on a bed, his entire being immersed in silence, yet within, he was boiling with anxiety and pressure. His body's training, usually level 1 to 3 is the easiest, 4 to 6 is a little harder, and 7 to 9 is even harder. For person at level 9 to break through, that was the hardest part. As Luo Feng's core was his original core, hence his soul couldn't break through, limited by his human body. His physical body had early on reached the Star Traveler level 6, however to break into level 7 was extremely difficult. Luo Feng had been stuck at this crucial pass for a bit. Whenever he felt like it was about to break through, he didn't seem to be able to. The Nwolan Shan family has already reached Earth. We don't have much time, not much at all. I can't accept this. I won't accept this. It's not the same anymore. Luo Feng opened his eyes, smiling as he looked around. I'm not the same anymore. Luo Feng said softly, Earth isn't the same anymore. Outside the house, Hong and Thunder God turned at the same time and looked within the house. Big brother, second brother. Luo Feng smiled, follow me to the Universe Galaxy Bank. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.